Thank you. I'm Alan Dershowitz, professor at Harvard Law School, and I'm here to tell you that we are in a human rights emergency. This is no longer an academic issue. This is no longer an issue that we have time to ponder and consider. We are in a real emergency. The reason we're in an emergency is that Iraq has become utterly unpredictable. The risks to the lives of every single member of the MEK and every single resident of Camp Ashraf are immediate, real, clear, and present. There is no time for further discussion and debate. We must take action. And the action we must take is twofold. Number one, the MEK must immediately be delisted. That is required by law, it's required by morality, and it's required by the facts of the case. The United States Court of Appeals has issued an order demanding that the State Department reconsider. The State Department has been dragging its feet. They've been speaking out of two sides of their mouths. We have been on the phone repeatedly with State Department representatives. On the one hand, they tell us it doesn't matter at all whether the MEK is listed or delisted. And on the other hand, they're telling us that European countries won't take members of the MEK, and the reason for that is precisely because they remain listed. They must be taken off that list. It matters greatly. It matters under American law. It matters under perceptions. It matters under the realities of the situation. And I'm very worried about the two-step process that is now under consideration. First, move a few hundred to Camp Liberty and then move the rest to Camp Liberty. There has to be an inspection with photographs, with forensic evidence, to forbid the Iraqi government from planting evidence, because what the Iraqi government is now looking to do is they're looking to make excuses to do what they know they would like to do, and that is once again attack the residents of Camp Ashraf. They need a reason for doing it because they're being watched by the world as the result of this great human rights activity that we're all engaged in today. This has been one of the classic human rights activities and advocacy projects, and it's been very successful in bringing this matter to the attention of the international community, the international media. So the Iraqis know we're watching them. But they're still looking for excuses to do what we know they want to do. We have to make sure they have no such excuses. So the first thing has to be delisting, because the Iraqi government says we're dealing with terrorists. We're dealing with people the United States government has declared to be terrorists, and who is sympathetic with terrorists. The fact that you call somebody a terrorist doesn't, however, make them terrorists. And there's no evidence. We know that any military action or terrorist action has occurred, certainly not in the last decade. And the second thing that has to be done is we have to start thinking not about the transfer from Camp Ashraf to Camp Liberty. That's a short-term and very dangerous first step. The ultimate goal has to be to make sure that every resident of Camp Ashraf no longer is within the jurisdiction of Iraq. They must be moved out of Iraq as quickly as possible. It may take a two-step process. We can't wait until the European countries and the United States and Canada and other countries are willing to accept members. There has to be an intermediate step. Whether it's an airlift to Jordan or an airlift to another country, somewhere where they're out of Iraq. And we're not talking about comfort. There's a lot of mistake. The State Department says, oh, you're worried that there won't be playgrounds for the children. You're worried that there won't be this facility or that facility. That's not the ultimate issue. That's a concern. But it's not the ultimate issue. The ultimate issue is the safety, the physical safety of the residents. There is an emergency, as I've said. There's no time for the usual procedures of the courts to go slowly. The delisting has to occur immediately. Both the Quran and the Talmud say that he who saves a single human life, it is as if they have saved the world. That is part of the Christian tradition, the Jewish tradition, the Muslim tradition, and every humanitarian tradition. We are in a position to save human lives. And as my friend Elie Wiesel, who has told me to say that he cares deeply, deeply about the residents of Camp Ashraf, reminds me over and over again, for him the main lesson of the Holocaust has always been, take the threats of your enemies more seriously than the promises of your friends. Now, we are friends of the people at Camp Ashraf, and we as a government, the United States, has made promises. We are not keeping those promises. It is a scandal that the United States is not keeping its promise. We demanded of the residents of Camp Ashraf that they give up their ability to defend themselves in exchange for a solemn and sacred promise that we would take over their defense, we would protect them. In this Capitol building, I call on the United States government, keep its promise, save lives, rescue the residents of Camp Ashraf. Thank you very much.